Hi, my name is Andrea Campbell, and today I'm going to talk about the importance of disciplining children. According to the text, families, delinquency, and crime, adolescent problems have been rising since the 1960s. And we see this as a problem as discipline has decreased, adolescent misbehavior has increased. Some examples of adolescent problems include crime, unmarried teen pregnancy, school dropouts, suicide, and illegal drug use. Since having my first of 4 children, I've been determined to study parenting issues, including discipline. There are varying methods of discipline which can be used, and it really depends on the child and, of course, the circumstance on what kind of discipline you use. But discipline is so important because it can help a child mature, it can teach them to obey authority, and it can help them to develop a sense of self-control. Raising a child is an extremely wonderful event, of course, for any parent, but it can also be very difficult. You will have to deal with the child's sinful nature, which we all have, and it's best for parents to glean wisdom from books, the most important being the Bible, and from other parents who have knowledge and have tried different disciplining methods and know what might work and what might not work. And of course, experience is going to be important as well. The following is a quote from the book, The 5 Love Languages of Children. Contrary to what many people think, discipline is not a negative word. Discipline comes from a Greek word that means to train. And I found this very interesting because it is true. We usually think of discipline as negative, and this is one reason that our society has tried to kind of weed out disciplines, because it's thought of as such a negative way to raise children. But as children are disciplined, they're learning that there are correct and incorrect ways to behave. And discipline is one of the most important ways to teach this. It helps lead them to maturity as they begin making decisions based on how they've been trained. If you haven't been trained on what's right and wrong through discipline, then how can you make the correct choices when it's time to decide? An undisciplined child is much more likely to throw tantrums, rebel, and act out aggressively, which are all forms of immaturity. Becoming mature is not based on age, and that's very important. Someone who is 64 can be just as immature as a 5-year-old. Maturity comes from inside, from knowledge, from wisdom, from self-control. And that's very important to remember. Helping children learn to obey authority is a lesson they will use daily throughout life. Because of course, when we go out into the world and get jobs, we have bosses, we even have government leaders. There's always going to be people that we need to obey. Authority begins in the home with the parents as the authority figures, and the children as expected to mindfully obey. Proverbs 24, 3-6 from the Bible should be an encouragement to parents. Through wisdom, a house is built, and by understanding it is established. By knowledge, the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. A wise man is strong. Yes, a man of knowledge increases strength. For by wise counsel you will wage your own war, and in a multitude of counselors there is safety. The part I really like about this is, for by wise counsel you will wage your own war. As parents counsel their children, which includes discipline, children, when they go out into the world, they'll be able to wage their war. Spiritual wars, emotional wars, hopefully not physical wars, but they will learn how to take care of themselves and how to make correct decisions. Children must be disciplined to help them develop self-control. When taught right from wrong, a person is given the chance to make correct decisions. You need to have that foundation of right and wrong. And if there's wrong, there needs to be consequences so that children can realize why they need to make correct decisions. As the child begins to make correct choices in life, they're starting to develop that self-control. And as you continue to train your child and discipline as needed, that child is continuing to practice self-control, which leads to their maturity and helps with them obeying authority, as we spoke of earlier. It is very important to research various forms of disciplining a child because each child is unique and can react differently to various forms of discipline. Other adults will have helpful experience on what has worked well with their own children. You'll discover forms of discipline which you had not thought of, and you don't want to be limited to just one form of discipline, especially because there's so many varying things that a child might do that might warrant different levels of discipline. Regarding discipline, we have discussed that children need discipline to help them develop in maturity, to help them obey authority, which is a life lesson that they must learn, and that proper discipline will lead a child to develop self-control. As we discipline our children, we must remember to do so for their benefit using love and not anger. And this is as suggested in MacArthur's book, What the Bible Says About Parenting. Through loving discipline, we can raise our children to be mature and dutiful adults. Thank you.